How would I manage social events when trying to lose body fat? So in the UK, social events are all based around alcohol and food most of the time, right? People's birthdays, weddings, big celebrations, it's all based around food and alcohol. Two things which people struggle to deal with when trying to lose body fat. And it's one thing that stops people actually wanting to lose weight because I think I don't want to throw my social life down the pan. I still want to go to these social events and enjoy it. So how do I manage it myself and with clients? So the first thing is alcohol. A lot of social events in the UK are based around alcohol, and it's what we would call a fourth macronutrient, but it's empty calories. So it doesn't actually give your body anything. It's actually a negative to put in, right? But we want that in there. The reality is if you didn't go to social events, dieting would be so much easier. You would find it so much easier to lose body fat and you would get to that result quicker. But most people aren't going to completely cut them out. So first thing I give to clients is let's manage them. Let's manage them and let's minimize them. So looking at which social events over this period that it's going to take me to lose the amount of body fat that I need can I miss, and which do I really need to go to? The ones you really need to go to, there's going to be tips that we can look at to manage that better. So, per shot of alcohol is going to be around 70 calories, right? I would always say opt for spirits with a diet mixer if you're going to drink. So I would then start looking to account them into my calorie target. So if I wanted 5 drinks at a social event I was going for, say I worked in an office and I was going for drinks after work, I would look at 5 drinks, 350 calories if I have single spirit with a diet mixer, right? I'm going to then account for that in my days of calories. I'm going to look at my calories. I'm going to save 350 for the end of the day. So I'm going to plan out the rest of my meals. The main thing I'm going to look at doing is hitting my protein target still. So that would mean pulling away carbs and fats from the meals I would usually eat to give me them extra 350 calories. But the main problem with alcohol isn't the actual alcohol itself. It's the fact that it turns down the dial on people's willpower, which then tends to lead to McDonald's on the way home, maybe a kebab the next morning. It might be go to a local cafe, get a full English, or order a McDonald's breakfast. So how would I then look at combating that? What I would look at is I would make sure I've got some snacks at home, not the typical snacks that you're going to eat after you've drank. I'd make sure I've got like high volume, low calorie foods, things like fruits in to just snack on once I get home to just feed that thing of wanting to eat. Of course, it's not going to be the most go-to desirable food when you're drunk, right? But you're the one who wants to lose weight, not me. You're wanting to achieve this goal. So we're going to have to look at workarounds which aren't exactly what we want in that time frame, and we're going to have to make sacrifices. So that's the way that I would look at that and put that forward. The next day is then a big issue for people. They tend to slob around and eat loads of shit food and order in. So what I would do is I would plan ahead. Planning is so important when trying to lose body fat. I would look at, would I be wanting a sausage and egg McMuffin the next morning? Of course I would when I'm feeling hungover. Who doesn't want that? I would make it at home with lower calorie options. Processed food is never going to be the ideal way that I push clients, but I might look at the next morning, I would make sure before I go out that I've got some bagel thins in, maybe some chicken sausages, and then I would just cook an egg on top of that and have that instead. This is way more manageable. You can track this within your tracking app of your calories and make sure that you're not going over that next day. Another approach would be to save some calories during the week to make up for the extra calories you might have on the weekend at that social event. So that could be dropping your calories Monday to Friday by 200 to give yourself an extra 1,000 calories. My only issue with that with certain people is the urge to eat. You get really hungry. If you're already in a deficit and then you drop them by another 200-300 a day, you're going to get hunger signals, which sometimes people can't override with just willpower alone. So that's why I would kind of be put off of that. The next thing is meals out. Everyone struggles with this, but I still think it's very important to go for food out with friends and family during a dieting phase. Your dieting phase might be 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks. You're not going to go all that time without meeting up with people or seeing any of your friends and family. So there's workarounds with meals out that I would use with clients as well. Number 1 would be check on the website the menu the day before you go. Pick what you want, put it into your calorie tracker for that day, and then build the rest of your meals for that day around that. So that would probably mean using high protein, low carb and low fat meals for your other meals throughout the day, maybe utilizing things like protein shakes to get that protein in and leave a lot of your fats and carbs for that evening meal when you go and eat out. But if you track it before, you know what your targets are for everything else. Then it's looking at the basics of food while you're there. So for me, in a restaurant, I'm quite happy being awkward. I get comments about this all the time. I'm happy to walk into a restaurant, look at the ingredients that they have across the menu and kind of put my own meal together. Some people won't feel comfortable with this. If I didn't feel comfortable with this, my go-to would always be a lean piece of steak, so either a rump or a fillet, with any form of potato that's not fried. So this could be new potatoes, baked potatoes, anything that's not going to be put in the fryer. Then I would just ask for some extra vegetables on the side. Every restaurant that you go to should be serving vegetables. I would just ask for a bowl of mixed vegetables to get more volume in there to make sure that I'm still hungry and satisfied after. I would skip a starter and I would skip the dessert. You're still going out, you're still socialising, you're still seeing all your friends and family, but you're still able to stay on track. The reality is that most people fuck their diet up on a weekend. They diet well for the week, but then they go out for food and drink, and it's very easy to eat over your calories by 1,000 to 2,000 calories while you're out for a meal. So if you've been dieting in a deficit of 200 to 300 a day Monday to Friday, and you get that to a 1,500 calorie deficit, but then on a Saturday you go out and you have a 1,500 calorie meal, which is so easy to do, by the way. If you go get a burger, some chips, and then maybe a dessert with a couple of beers, then 1,500 calories have gone. You've no longer been in a deficit for the week and you'll lose no body fat. So this is what we need to be focusing on while we're in a diet and how to manage these social events. You still want to be able to socialise, but pick the ones which you really want to go to. Get good at saying no to the ones you don't actually care about going. And then start to use these tips to put in place to make sure that you're making better choices and can still keep that fat loss going while socialising. This is the reason why I promote short-term fat loss phases with maintenance phases and building phases. Therefore, my clients can have months throughout the year where they focus on fat loss. That's their main goal. They will make sacrifices when it comes to their social life, but then they'll also have periods throughout the year where they're focusing on maintaining their body weight or building some muscle mass, which gives them some more freedom with calories to go out and socialise more and build that social life back up. That can then be their priority within that period. So having periodizations throughout the year is the perfect way to execute long-term fat loss without destroying your social life.